Hello, my name is Martin Wardowitz, and I'm one of the kinesiologists here at the Woodgrove Pines Clinic. This is our gym, and these videos, they are intended just to give you a little taste of what we can provide and offer as our services. Now, of course, some of these videos might not be up to your capabilities, which is why I highly recommend that you come on in, book yourself an assessment, and that way I can tailor the exercise specifically to you. Hello, and welcome to the walking endurance portion of the videos. For this portion, we do not necessarily require a band, but I'm going to throw in 3 different types of exercises that can be done. And these can be done without the need of bands. You can choose one of the 3. And if you're able to get your hands on some bands, pun intended, you are free to do so. And here's the first one. The first exercise we rarely think about, but the front portions of our shins, specifically the tibialis anterior muscle, is responsible for leading the toe up in the air. And walking requires that motion. Let me just move this chair aside. When taking our first step and then leading forward with it, in order not to turf toe onto the ground, we have to perform this motion, which is that lift off, also known as dorsiflexion. Think of doing a walk for over 30 minutes. How many times is the foot doing this motion? And yes, of course, there is the pressing motion because it propels us to move forward. So when I take my first step, the front focusing on the right foot, I will have to propel to move forward. But at the same time, I'm also, and we don't think about this, it is almost neglected, we also have to prevent this turf toeing from happening. So I have to lift my foot in that dorsal flexion in order to make that movement fluid. Here's one great exercise that you can try with some bands and a towel and a door. So with the band, place it around the towel so that it won't slip through the door. And I guess it doesn't necessarily matter which way you're gonna do this exercise, whether it's inside of the door or behind the door. And then we're going to slide that in the back there. And as you can see now, the band is hooked. This can be also wrapped around some strong oaky dinner table, maybe a couch of some sort, or any leg, or anything you can put around a sturdy pole. Then grab yourself a chair, to which I want you to sit fairly far away from. And you can do two feet at the same time. However, we need to recognize that walking is a single-legged movement. And in that we find some patterns and behaviors that are not common to both legs, and we want to distinguish what that can be. So if we do a single leg, we can say, oh wow, my right leg's much weaker than my left, so we can focus on that more so and not worry about things compensating. Straightforward, just as you would as if you're walking, you're going to perform this motion of pumping the foot up towards your body. And if you want more resistance, just bring the chair slightly further back, and you're just going to focus on the contraction of that tibialis anterior muscle. And these muscles are designed for endurance, so don't speed your way through it. Contract and hold for a good 3 seconds before you slowly drop the foot forward. Now, the only downside is the band could slip off, so you don't have to go too far forward down. I'm more interested in the contraction of the muscle on this side. So let's say you don't have a pair of bands. Nice. And you want to try something different. We can lean up against the door, and the further away I am from the door, the easier it is. The closer I am, the harder it gets. And again, I did mention earlier that it's great to focus on just one leg, but leaning up against the door can be a little bit difficult to do this exercise with, so there's a benefit to the bands. And on top of that, it could feel a little uncomfortable on the heels because I'm putting a lot of pressure on that area, so shoes on might be preferable, or having some type of towel in which you place your heels on would be best. And it's the same concept. We want to make sure that we're not pumping the gas pedal too much. What we're focusing on is controlled motions. These are fine movements, very slow and controlled, and focusing more on the top. So even having that 3 seconds up here, and then slowly dropping the toes down. Segueing right into our second exercise with the chair. And in fact, we can double the exercise from the previous one, where we focus on the calf raise and then transition right into our toe raise. Seen this many times before. I want to make this video slightly more unique than your typical, I guess, packages that you're presented with. And what we can do, instead of just doing the double-legged forward, double-legged back, I'd like to see if you can manage doing a single-legged calf raise and possibly spending a lot more time in that top portion and slowly dropping the heel down. So I would take about 5 seconds to go from the top portion to the bottom. My left foot here is just resting on the floor. You're more than welcome to hold it up in this position. That way you engage some hamstrings at the same time too. But do what you must with this position, focusing once again on a single, maybe even face away from the chair so you're not using too much weight, single-legged portion of the exercise. As we mentioned, walking is a unilateral motion. It's single-legged. And play for the endurance, because that's what this leg is designed for. Don't be pumping away. See how much control you have of that calf muscle when you're trying to do this plantar flexion motion. You could even rock with it forward and back slightly. Balance also, right? Playing around with balance at the same time too. But if you want to couple this exercise with the previous one, that is also possible. So you can get two for the price of one. There it is. Very nice. But you're not paying. You're getting this for free. Wow. That Mari's such a nice guy. Just joking. All right. There's a 2. Now let's go into our final and third exercise. For final and third exercise, it may feel more advanced than previously demonstrated, but I wanted to provide a more variability in this video, specifically for those who want to increase their endurance in walking, because it may appear that those who want to increase their endurance are already walking but would like to get that extra edge. And here's that exercise. But have no fear, I will find modifications for you during this exercise. And what we're trying to target is our glute muscle, because propelling also adds that extension. And it isn't always so that we rotate the foot, but the glutes do play quite the primary player. They're quite the primary player when it comes to walking and endurance. And so here's a glute exercise that we can focus on. It's not easy trying to make these videos and you're going kind of off the cusp. I do know what I'm talking about, but at the same time too, it's very difficult. So bear with me. I'm trying my best here. Having a towel definitely helps absorb some of that pain and discomfort from the wall. And what we can do is have our toe down to begin with. As you can see, just for visual purposes, it's just the knee that's trying to make the contact with the wall to begin with. It's a balance concept. Have a chair nearby and lean up against the wall if you need to. But all we're going to do is we're going to imagine that both knees are opposing forces, and positioning of the feet should be slightly hip or further apart, not too close together. Also leaning slightly forward in this position, and all you're going to do is hold and isometrically apply pressure into the wall and away from the wall with this knee. Don't lean too far one way, too far the other way. You want to stay right in that center line. Leaning forward will increase a little extension in the spine, so some of those erector muscles and glutes at the same time. Most importantly, pushing those knees apart. Now, again, not for everyone. You may need to hop in for some modifications, but great exercise for the glutes and a single-legged form of exercising. If you want to take it a next step, you can lift the toe off the ground, cross over with your hands, come down a little bit lower, and oppose these forces. So right knee pushes into the towel, left knee slightly pushes out. So you can imagine that there's a hand that you're pushing into, and that's the force that you want to generate with these knees, and you should start feeling quite a bit of work happening on both sides of the glutes. Really want to emphasize that we don't want to lean into this way or lean into that way, because that will demonstrate that I'm either pushing too much with my right knee out or too much with my left knee in. That's, for me, right there, a fantastic way in which you can try engaging those glutes. If you need to, you can place your bands around your knees. However, we are reducing the practicality of this exercise because now we're sitting. But that's no issue at all. Pushing the knee into the wall, keeping ourselves nice and tall, will also engage this glute, which is fine. We are engaging the glute in a different position though. So if we need to, we can really reduce the difficulty in this exercise. And just pushing here, also pushing out with this knee, having the bands on, if you have thicker bands, will engage a lot more of that glute movement. So there you have it. There's the walking endurance portion of the exercises. And if you need some help or you feel like you want some modifications, please feel free to come down to Woodgrove Pine Wellness, and I would be happy to assist you. So let's get this stepping.